without any further ado, I'm going to hand it off to Isaiah today to talk about email sequencing that actually sells in Followup CRM.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you for that, Sarah. Hey, for those that don't know me, I'm Isaiah. I'm a customer success manager with Followup CRM. And like Sarah said, we're going to cover email sequencing today. So for those of you that don't know what an email sequence is, it's basically just a series of emails that you send automatically over time, usually scheduled or based on a trigger, and basically goes through a process. Like I said, just a process of emails, right? So let me show you what I mean and where you would go to access sequencing within Followup. So I'm going to get off this screen here, and the best way to learn is by doing. So we're going to go ahead and go into the Followup CRM system. Just to make sure, Sarah, since I have you here, are you able to see my Followup screen?
Yes, I see that clearly.
Perfect. All right. And we're going to go ahead and go into a project here that I created called Sequences Webinar, right? Now, in order to access your sequenced emails, the place that we're going to go to is the Compose email section right here, halfway down the page. If I click Compose email here, you're going to see that we have a button called Sequences located right here in the top right. I'm going to click on that sequence button. And the first thing it's going to ask you is to select a contact to enter in the sequence. So where it's pulling these contacts from here is one of two places. The first place, it's going to give you this list of contacts here. And the reason you see Isaiah twice, the first place is going to be this contact and the project information. So you have the contact and the email that it's going to be pulling from. The second place, I put myself in here twice, is in the company information. So you'll be able to create a sequence both for anybody in the company information section and for anybody in the project information here as well. Just as an example, if I start typing in a name here, and let's say I add Alyssa and I save the project. Now, since that project is saved and I've added Alyssa in this case, I go over to sequences, and Alyssa is also an option to send the sequence or enroll in the sequence. So I'm going to select the contact, and it's going to bring you up to this screen here. So the first thing you're going to notice is there's a sequence already created, but let's start from scratch so we can show you the process of creating a sequence or using a template for a sequence. I'm going to click on New Sequence here. And then you'll notice you have two options, right? You can create your own sequence from scratch, or for your convenience, we have pre-made templates for sequences as well. I'm going to click on pre-made templates. All right, and we're going to talk about this process of sequences. So you notice we have quite a few templates in here. Let's make it very simple and do the new lead sequence. So what you're going to notice in this new lead sequence on the right, or I guess you could say the middle here, has 4 emails. And if you click preview, you can see the contents of these emails and a couple other pieces of information. Let's talk about these pieces of information one by one. You have your subject line for your first email in the sequence here. Great meeting you, 15-minute follow-up call, a template name, or if you already have templates created in the system, you can select from here. And then we have our trigger, I guess you could say date, which is a day and time you want to send this email. So right now we're saying, hey, I want you to send this email one day after we enroll this person in a sequence at 12 a.m. Now, most likely you're not going to want to send a sequence over an email to somebody at midnight, because 9 times out of 10, probably 99% of the time, it's not going to be answered, right?
Yeah, it's going to make you look like a robot, and that's not the point. We still want you to look like a human and for your customers to feel comfortable doing business with you, but you still be able to work with more people by putting some things into the system so it takes the manual load off of you.
Exactly. So for that purpose, we're going to put 9 a.m. Hopefully by then, most people are in the office. They've probably had breakfast and will be more receptive, or maybe check their inbox. I don't know if y'all check your inbox first thing every day, but I definitely do. So those will float right to the top. And then you have the subject line here when it comes to your sequence, right? Now, when it comes to creating a sequence, let's talk about the subject, or I guess the body of the email here, right? When it comes to the body, we like to say best practice, keep your email short and skimmable, right? So maybe 2 to 3 sentences max. Everybody's busy with their day. They're just getting started. The last thing they want to do is read through 4 paragraphs of an email, right? So keep it short and skimmable. And we always like to say include a clear call to action, right? Hey, here's a link to book this meeting. Um, I'm going to give you a call in an hour, right? Just a clear call to action so they know what the next steps are. And then one thing that's really helpful here in the follow-up system are going to be these green fields. For example, you see here this contact green field. Those are called insertable fields. What that means is basically the fields that you have within follow-up, you're able to insert in here so that it automatically fills out that information for you. So instead of having to type in for each sequence email, hi, Adam, hi, Jerry, hi, Jim, you can just say, hi, project contact first name. And in this case, it will say, hi, Isaiah, right? Without you having to type in that name. It was great to meet you at the event listed. Or even if we want to say this is just a follow-up thing, great to meet you at the follow-up conference earlier this month, right? Follow-up CRM conference, which we have in February. Just shameless plug right there.
Oh yes. These are the first people to know. Anyone who's on our admin list, you will get an email next Thursday, but we'll just say softly save the date for February to come see us in Florida.
Oh yeah, spoiler alert. But perfect. So we're going to say really quick, it was great to meet you at the Follow-Up CRM conference earlier this month. Attached link showcases some of our work. Are you able to prioritize a 15-minute phone call, etc., right? You can include your phone number in here, your email, anything of the sort. And we're going to say, again, send this in one day at 9 a.m.
Hey, I'm going to stop you really quick, Isaiah. People should
Mhm.
not be shocked necessarily by how this looks. Very similar to their normal email setup, right? Or even how Word has options to bold, italicize, underline, like a whole gray section above the high copy.
Mhm.
Isaiah told you some good tips about keeping it short, making sure you have a clear call to action. So don't just leave it open ended, like, oh, we can connect sometime. You would want to say, like, let me know by end of week, or if I don't hear back from you by Wednesday, I'll go ahead and give you a call. Or here is the link to my calendar so you can go ahead and book time that works for you. Be very specific in that way. And then you can use some of the formatting options. So, again, if you want to be more skimmable, use those bullet points. I would say don't
Mhm.
overuse them, right? You don't want the entire copy to be bold, or you don't want bold over here and underline over there. It's kind of distracting. Use it sparingly so it can actually make a difference.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you for that, Sarah. So once you're done updating your email, you can go ahead and click update step here, and that sequence step has been updated. And then we can move on, obviously, to the next one, right? So same thing, hi, and we'll say instead of contact, again, project contact, first name. We're eager to help with, and this is something that you'd enter by yourself, insert problem lead inquired about. Click here for your link hyperlink that Sarah talked about, right? If you have a Calendly link or maybe a generic calendar link, you can enter in here. One thing I do want to point out, you're going to notice this says send email again in 1 days. So how our sequences work is this send email goes based on the day that you enroll the client or individual in a sequence. So for example, that send email in 1 day at the top, that means it's going to send it 1 day from today. So August 22nd at 12 a.m., which I meant to change over to PM. So if then you want somebody to have the next sequence email send, let's say 12 p.m. during lunch on the Friday, you'd say send email in 2 days, right? I guess it'd be Saturday, so probably don't want to do that, but we'll talk about that in a second as well. So I'll say send email in 2 days so that it sends on the next business day, right? I'll update that step. The next one, for example, let's say 1 p.m. in 3 days. And then the fourth one will say in 4 days, right? And we like to say you may want to keep your sequences to just 4 to 5 sequences so you're not bombarding somebody with, 10, 12, 13 emails. We like to say keep it short and sweet, just, clear calls to actions, short and concise emails, and no more than 5 sequences. Now that we've set all these sequences here, I want to take you over to the settings area to show you a couple of cool features we have regarding sequences. So if I click on settings here, you're going to notice 3 important features that we have here. The first one, you can share this sequence company-wide so that anybody on your team can use the sequence that you've created and start enrolling people in it. The second one, you can send emails to be sent only on business days. So what that means is obviously I have these sequences 2, 3, and 4 days, but in 2 days it's Saturday, right? If I check this box here for sending emails on business days, this is not going to send Saturday. Instead, it's going to be sent Monday. This one will be
I
sent
highly
Tuesday.
recommend using this.
Oh, yeah. My favorite is unenroll if contact replies to email. So if you check this, let's say that you have Isaiah, myself enrolled in this sequence. If I reply by step 2, it will not send me step 3 and step 4 since I've already replied to your sequence. And that makes you look less robotic, makes it look less like an automated email and more like something an actual human is replying to.
Yes, and that
We can
helps
go
you
back.
because they could be replying either way. They could be saying, "Oh,
Mhm.
absolutely. Please move me forward in the process." Or they could be saying the opposite, like, "Hey, don't email me again." So either way, that's a good thing to have set up.
Exactly, yes. Now, the last thing that we're going to want to go ahead and do is name your sequence, right? So right here at the top, we can name the sequence. Let's call this new lead sequence. And let's also give it a date that we created the sequence so we can always see at a glance how old the sequence is, right? 8/21. Go back to our listing and you see that this new lead sequence has been created. And you can actually see when it was last used and the last update you made to the sequence as well.
That's so helpful. If you've had some big system change, let's say you went from everyone using Calendly to everyone using a Google Meetup link, then you can remove those old things that based on the last updated date. And then you can also tell if nobody's using the sequence, then maybe it's not worth having, or maybe you need to make something a little more helpful. And we talked about
Mhm.
some specific use cases, Isaiah, for your naming here. You might want it to be specific to your Dallas office, or you might want it to be
Mhm.
specific to your SDR team, you name it.
Exactly. And you can put that right there in the subject line as well. And then when you go back to listing, when I save that, that should be updated there. But obviously, there we go. New lead sequence Dallas. We'll check that off. Obviously, here in a test environment, sometimes what I want it to do doesn't let it go through, but usually after a refresh, that should go ahead and update.
Yes, you usually just
Now,
need to refresh.
perfect. And then the last step is enrolling the person in the sequence. So you'll just click on this plus sign here, and that person is enrolled. And you'll notice for your convenience right here on the left-hand side, you'll see those sequenced emails as well. So you'll see, hey, this is the next email that's going out, next day, next day, next day, right? Now, let's say you have somebody enrolled in the sequence. Oops, I did that by accident. I don't want to actually enroll them in a sequence. I meant to enroll Alyssa. You can always compose an email here, stop the sequence from running. It'll remove from this list, and then you can enroll whoever else you want into that sequence again. Just like that, hit the plus sign, for example, in this case, the short-term follow-up sequence, and we see the exact same
Isaiah, we do have a question for you in the chat.
thing.
Is this feature available for contact or only projects?
I'm so glad you asked that, Jenny. This is available for contacts as well. So let me go over here real quick to the contacts page. And let's go into the Isaiah contact once more. So not only can you do sequences based on projects, for example, if you want to do a proposal follow-up sequence, but let's say it's somebody that's a new lead you're pursuing, which would be more helpful for a new lead sequence anyway. You can come over here to emails, compose email, and you have sequences available here as well. functions the exact same way. Create a new sequence. For this one, we're just going to use and customize just to show you that this works the exact same way. Back to listing, hit the plus sign, and you have your sequence created here as well. So you can create a sequence both for a contact and for a project as well.
That was a great
Uh,
question. We've got another one already, if you're willing to take it. Can you
of course,
insert your
yes.
company's email signature for this?
You definitely can insert your company's email signature for this. So basically how these sequences work here is it is already going to use the signature that you have within Followup CRM. So for example, if I come over here to the My Settings area and I click Edit Signature here, this is the signature that it's going to use when it comes to those email sequences, just as if you were going to compose a manual email in Followup. Great question, Tim. All right. When it comes to sequences, so basically, yes, you can, like I said, just as a review, you can create sequences both for projects and for contacts. You're going to see if somebody's enrolled in a sequence after you create it, just like we showed here on this section, just as a review here. If we create a sequence and enroll somebody in it, it's going to show here with which sequences have been sent and which ones are still to come, just like this here. Any other burning questions when it comes to sequences?
Isaiah, I know one thing I've heard before
Mm-hmm.
is how does this compare to templates? Can you tell us the difference between sequencing and templates?
Great question, Sarah. So when it comes to sequencing versus templates, so if you're here on the compose email, whether a project or a contact, you're going to notice sequences, you're going to notice templates here. The only difference is templates is going to be a one-off email, right? So if you click a template, just like we do here, it's not going to put them in a sequence of emails like day one, day two, day three. It's just basically consider it like signatures in Outlook, right? It's going to go ahead and paste in whatever you have as a templated email or a templated body subject here. And it's a one-time use. So it basically just pastes whatever you have saved as a template. You can send this out to the individual or to that project contact, if that makes sense. And actually, just real quick, just like you can see, just like with sequences, you can create your template just like you can with sequences. Update that and click the plus sign, and that adds it to the body of the email you're going to send.
That looks good. Does anybody else have questions? We try to keep it pretty high level yet instructional during these webinars. Do you have a specific use case you want to throw out there? I think we have capacity for that today.
Mhm.
And then I'm going to go ahead and put a support article inside of our chat so that people can reference more information on sequencing if they would like to.
Mhm. One thing actually that was pointed out to me recently that may be very helpful for y'all when it comes to building your sequences is to aim for your emails to be sent out midweek, right? Mondays and Fridays will probably usually get low responses. Monday, because it's the beginning of the week and they have a really big inbox probably to get through from the weekend. And Fridays, because obviously it's the end of the week, everybody's trying to go home. They most likely, or I'd say maybe 50% of the time, will miss your email as they are in a rush to get out of the office. I know I am.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect,
And then
perfect.
I'm going to queue up another poll for us right now. So we're going to save that.
Mhm.
And then we're going to launch it right now. I did say this answer at the beginning of the webinar, but I know people were still joining. Some might have an upper hand. We'll see. What percentage
Mhm.
of salespeople give up after one follow-up? And we probably have a lot of salespeople on here. So, what do you think about yourself and your comrades? Do you give up easily?
That's fair. I've never done sales before, so mine's probably 100%.
Oh, see, you're persistent, but in a humble way where you always come across helpful. I think we could all
Oh,
learn from
thanks.
that.
Seems like we have a good mixture of answers here, though.
We do. And I'll let this one run for a little bit longer and give some notes like I always do. If somebody in your team missed this webinar, that's okay. If they registered, they will still get a link to it to watch afterwards, either via Zoom or YouTube. The email itself will come from Zoom. Just know that it won't necessarily come from Sarah or Isaiah. And you can forward that on to any other team members. If you're talking, by the water cooler next week and you say, oh, they could use this. If you have other topics that you would like us to cover in future webinars, let us know. And then Isaiah, while you're in the system and displaying your screen, will you show them
Mhm.
all the good things under that help button in the bottom right-hand corner?
Oh, of course. Yes. So you'll see the help button right down here, and we have a couple different, I guess you could say, helpful links here, right? We have a chat feature that will take you to a live agent in case you have any burning questions that can't wait for your customer success rep. We have help videos and articles that you can always click on as well. And that's actually categorized. I'll show y'all real quick. Categorized by subject, integrations, automation, sales management, reports, et cetera, even feature overviews in here. Office hours are with me every Tuesday from 10 to 11 Eastern time. And you can actually schedule that here just by clicking on this. Opens up a little Calendly, and you can schedule that on Tuesdays. And then a couple more things here as well. You can report a bug. You can suggest a feature, like Sarah was talking about earlier,
I mean, we
suggesting
never have
webinars.
bugs, but if one were to
Yeah,
accidentally get
no.
in the system.
Awesome. And then the last thing I'd like to highlight is the Follow-Up 101 training course. So if you ever need a refresher, want to do some deeper dive within Follow-Up, you can click on this and access completely free courses for Follow-Up CRM training, whether you're an admin, a new user in the system, or like I said, just need a refresher.
And if you need something specific, Isaiah or Christine, they are available to do specialized training with your team. We have add-on options. So
Mhm.
I'm going to go ahead and end this poll now and share the results. They were perfectly split. The correct answer is that 45% of salespeople give up after one try and after one follow up, I should say. And then it keeps dropping. There are only 8% of salespeople who follow up 5 times. And that's what we
Wow.
said earlier was kind of the unlock. Like 5 times can be a good cadence there. We kind of recommended in this webinar today that 5 might be a good number. 4, 3 is great. You don't want to necessarily hit somebody up multiple times in one day. Take into consideration those weekends, all of those good tips that Isaiah gave today. We will share in the recording and I gave you that help article. We've got one last question in the chat, Isaiah, that I'm going to direct to
Mhm.
you. If somebody does not
Got it.
see the sequence in their email, why is that?
Great question. So perhaps the reason you don't see sequences in your email is it is available on our professional plan. So if it's something that you are interested in, I would reach out to your customer success rep just for pricing and availability on that. Thank you for that question, Roland. Appreciate it.
Yes, and
Good
we are
question.
constantly rolling out new features inside of follow up. We've made a lot of advancements in our dashboard. We have seen more interest in that. So maybe next month we'll cover that topic. We'll wait for some more feedback on it. We also have done our Kanban board recently. Our proposal generator has gotten facelifts over the years. So we're always improving and trying to add more value for you there. Okay, last question before we wrap up for today. I want to be respectful of your time. So, is the CC box in the external email send box actually a BCC?
Great question. So as of right now, we only have carbon copy, not blind carbon copy. However, there is a workaround for that. So if you ever do need to blind carbon copy somebody, if you see this icon here next to this email, it's both available here in the contact section and in the project section. That'll open up your default mail client, so your Outlook or your Gmail, where you can send an email that way and still have the emails linked back to your project or contact. So I know that was a long answer. Short answer is it's not available yet within the system when it comes to sending an email from this section here.
But you could use a template with that workaround if needed. See,
Exactly.
it's worth asking because we rarely say no. When there's a will, there is a way. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. Like I said, I will send out the recording. We do these the third Thursday of every month, and we are always very grateful for your participation and your attendance. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Thank y'all so much. See ya.